Hey guys, long time no speak. It's me, Johannah, and I'm here to tell you I haven't forgotten about you. We've just been very crazy busy our end. And I've been busy also recording a few interviews, and I am looking forward to publishing a lot of them. And in my last episode, I talked about the importance of building your own runway in order to future-proof your digital marketing. And one of the things you can actually do to stay ahead of the game is to spruce up your website. So in today's episode, one of the experts I've got with me, I'm talking to Johannah Barton from Confetti Designs, who are a website agency, and she isn't holding back on her years of experience designing high-converting websites for small businesses. So if you've been wondering what's the one thing you can do on your website to increase sales, then you've got to tune into the show. We also touch on all the typical mistakes we see everyone make when designing their website, including us. We do share one of our stories as well, and we discuss which e-commerce platform is best for your online shop if you're in the e-commerce game, and so much more. Johannah is one of the experts we're talking today, but then I'll have a few more marketing experts that I want to share with you. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the show. Let's get right into it. Before we tune into the show, I wanted to let you know about a free resource you can download from our website. If you're someone who is looking for more time in the day and some clever ways to boost your revenue this year, then you'll find our resource super helpful. It's a short checklist you can download to quickly identify which tasks you're doing now in your business which could be performed by a techie automation. For example, the repetitive tasks such as sending a confirmation email to a customer could be automated. Even some of the manual tasks you have as part of business operations could be performed automatically, saving you over 10 hours a week. Imagine all the fun things you could be doing in your business once you automate all those boring tasks. So to download this resource, just go to bumperleads.com/tasks. Hi all, welcome to Fall in Love with Your Business Again podcast. Today, I have my co-host Milena joining me. And we are super excited to be talking to Johannah Barton, who is the founder of Confetti Designs, a website design agency that produces high-converting websites that don't cost the earth. So for more than 10 years, Johannah has worked with large organizations, taking the brand and strategy and translating that into a corporate wardrobe, which is a belief styling, and working with other creative agencies to bring brands to life. And now, today, she has a team of designers and website developers. She brings that big brand strategic thinking and expertise to benefit small businesses. And we've been working with Confetti Designs now for about 4 years, and she's been helping so many of our clients, and she's our number one person we always think about when it comes to websites. And so we're super excited to have Johannah join us here on the show today. So let's start by asking Johannah, what drove her to starting a website design agency? You know, it's going from the world of branding and styling to, dare I say, boring and geeky world of technology.
Well, it's funny, really, because I kind of took what I was learning and doing within the corporate area and have brought that into the digital space for a smaller business. So for a good, I think it was about 15 years I worked in corporate wardrobe, and we would work for large organizations like banks and airlines, and they would have a brand Bible, so they have their brand standards. But what's important with wardrobe is that these are for customer-facing employees, and it's really important for the customers coming into a branch or going to an airline, they know who to go to for help. So we had to work, I wasn't the designer, I worked with the design team and the marketing team to make sure that that brand was consistently used within the corporate uniform. And we had an opportunity to market to all of the employees to spend over and above their allocation. So that's where my kind of direct marketing thinking was taught, or I learnt, and how to captivate that audience to get them to spend more money. So my husband actually was the one that said, I think you could use your kind of styling and business strategy for your own business. Why don't you start your own business? And we kind of ended up doing websites because I built a few websites for people, and I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't find it too technical. There was a nice balance between technical strategy and the design. And really, we launched in a very niche market. We aimed initially, the first year or two was just women in business. It was quite early on where women had just started to take their knowledge that they'd learned pre-children, and they needed some flexibility in their working life and home life, and they'd started their own consulting businesses. But within a week, we had to hire staff because we had niched the message and niched into an audience really well. So now, 6 years on, we have a team of 8. And I kind of think of it like a bit like that styling element, but for an online tool, like your sales tools, your website. So yeah, that was kind of how we started, and we haven't looked back. It's been really exciting. I think one of the most exciting pieces is when you said in your intro about, helping people fall back in love with their business. It is probably about a 60-40 mix between people who are already in business and have had a website. They maybe got a family member to do it, or over a period of years, their business has slightly moved and changed, so they need to reposition themselves, or they got someone to do it and they got it kind of as an economical startup, and now they want to invest some money in it. And the process that we take them through is really exciting. I get really excited about learning of people's businesses and what they do and why they're special to anybody else in the industry, and that it becomes kind of like contagious enthusiasm a little, where we all get really energized about people's businesses, and that includes the owners of the business as well. I think having someone that listens to them, and we're not really a business coach, but we do walk along that path with them for a certain point, and it's really nice to have someone to bounce ideas off, I guess. And so that's probably why they get quite excited as well.
And that's probably the reason why we love working with you, and we keep sending you clients, because you're one of the very few website designers that we've come across who can really understand the commercial side of building a website. And oftentimes when we meet with clients, we say, are we in the business of winning design awards or winning customers? And I think you have this really great special way of knowing how to position the website for converting those prospects, or that traffic and online traffic, into customers. Milena, you had a question about the website side of things.
I have a few questions, a couple of questions.
Oh, here we go.
But I've got one question just popped in now, as you were saying. When clients approach you, do they actually come to you already with the brand guide, or do you kind of help them with their branding as well?
So when we first started, we found that people hadn't really thought a lot about their brand. So they might have had a logo, or they may not even have had a logo. So we actually ended up working with a graphic designer to do that piece, and then we would move it and kind of transition that into the consistency on the website. So it's a little bit 50-50. We do tend to take the opportunity when someone is doing a website just to get them to think a little bit about, does this brand communicate the essence of what they're wanting to communicate? Is it attracting the right audience? And because a lot of people in business, they think it's all about them, and it's not. It's that age-old kind of expression in marketing is, what's in it for me? And business owners often forget that it's not about them. It's really about the audience that they want to attract. Obviously, there's got to be this kind of connection between how they want to present themselves with who they want to attract. It's got to have an intercept there. There can't be a disconnect. So it is important, Milena, that we do ask them or question them to make sure that they're happy with that branding. And if we can, we might just simplify it. I'm not the kind of person, and the way that we work, our philosophy isn't to just throw lots of money at the pretty things. we say invest the money in the elements that are really going to give you a return. So like yourselves, we will always talk about automation because particularly in the e-commerce area, they need to be able to, if they've got this website, they've got to have this kind of full ecosystem, marketing ecosystem. So if they've not got the automation happening to then continue to build on that customer, then that's going to kind of fail them. If they're not doing SEO to drive traffic to the site, who's going to discover them? If they're, so there's a whole lot of little elements, and the branding is definitely one piece. So, but I would say don't go off and spend $2,500 on a new logo, or even more than that. If all we need to do is just maybe refine the font. If it's something to do with your packaging and your branding that goes across a whole range of pieces, then that's worthy of probably spending the money. So every business, I kind of try and work with the business and where they're at, and we try to open their mind and educate them on these are the things that you might want to look at. And these are generally the pieces or the areas that you should be putting your money into, because if we spend money on driving traffic and then money on automation, you've got customers. Whereas if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a new logo, you're just looking a bit prettier. But is it really enough to make more customers come to you? And that would be the question that I always ask.
That's what I like about your websites is that you add the style as well to the site, but you also think about the conversion side. Will it bring you sales? Will it bring you more sales? Does the flow of the website make sense? It's really great to see that, actually, because I don't see it on every website out there. I do have another question in regards to when people approach you, what type of problems do they normally have before they hire you? Do they need a brand new website, or are they a startup?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of each of those. There will be people that are completely new and they are either a small business. They even there are some businesses who have survived without a website, and often that's because they'll have referral partners. So they've never even done one, and they may have been in business for 15 years, like a bookkeeper, and they're just realizing that, they need to future-proof their business. So that can be one area where they've never done a website before. And if it's a business website, we would always, we work with just WordPress. Okay. And we do custom builds. So we work with using different like PHP or custom code, depending on the type of solution that we need. Mm-hmm. The problems, though, that people often have is that one major one is that they've tried something cheap. So they've tried a single developer or freelancer that they've found either on a platform like Upwork or Freelancer or whatever it is, or a relative. And what happens there is they often have little control over the quality and the kind of strategic thinking that this person can bring. So they'll end up with maybe the problem where it's taken forever, or the developer's gone AWOL, so it's half done. The person that's done it doesn't really have an understanding of marketing, so they haven't considered the customer and how it needs to look. They've been talked into just doing stock imagery, so that means that their website will look like everybody else's website because everyone's going to pixels to get the same picture of someone on a computer. So you could be any website and any business. There's no there's no human element in there, where we will always try to encourage them to do a photo shoot. So those can be some of the problems. The other one can be that they just gave up trying to get the person to understand the design that they were wanting. So they may have just said, look, I'm tired of you not understanding what it is that I'm communicating to you. So and all of those problems really boil down to the same thing, I believe, and that is that the developer, designer, or the agency, whoever they've worked with, has not made it about the client and the client's customer. So whether it's B2B or B2C, they're not thinking about the business like it's their own business. And I know that there's a lot of wonderful agencies out there and great people doing great work, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And we end up hearing time and time again the same concerns. How long will it take? How many people will I be working with? Are you the only person I speak to, or do I get passed on to someone else? And I've got one client that came to us, and every 3 months they had to re-educate the client relationship person at the agency on their business, because their turnover in the agency is so high, because they're not the owner. I'm the business owner. So it's in my interest that I want to get that 5-star review on Google. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you're happy at every step of the way and to make good on that. And I think that is often a problem that we also hear. And that's, again, it comes down to not really caring about the business owner and their business and their customer.
It resonates with me because that's exactly the type of challenges that we come across with our clients as well. And that's why we have to consult with you on the website design. And talking from a personal perspective, we have just launched our website because our VA was helping us do that. And we were happy to go 70%. It's not perfect, but we just had to go and do something just so we can launch it. Do you recommend people go and do a half done, or should it be perfect from day one?
I think it depends on your definition of perfect.
Yeah, what's perfect?
and also what is half done. So I would say I think that's a really hard question. You've got a really beautiful design, so I suspect that that your half done or 70% okay is probably better than most websites. So, whereas, I think that's a subjective, it'd be hard for me to actually answer that one properly. But, again, having said, so maybe a better way to answer that would be, if you need to get a digital presence, then keep it simple. If you can't afford a swish bang, 10-page plus website with SEO on it and a full-on photo shoot, just do a couple of pages, but do them well and make sure they look good on a phone. And then build, start small and then build. Because often if you're a startup, then you haven't really been engaging in service, then you're not really too sure if what you're proposing to the target market is going to resonate. So you may have to learn and change as you learn and grow, in which case, why spend all that money on a huge site? Just start small, get your audience positioning right, and then spend a bit more money to improve it. So I'd probably, and use social media as a way to support that. Small businesses that have a budget, I would say learn as much as you can. Go out there and take. We do have a few people that have come to us and they kind of go, I don't know, it's kind of, you need to do it. And I would always say, I'm happy to do everything for you, but you need to be educated, because otherwise you can't relinquish responsibility for your business. And your website is a tool, a sales tool. Would you hire someone and say, will you just go and learn what to do? No way. You would train them. You would make sure that they dress the way they're meant to represent your brand. They would need to know how to sell you, what are the benefits of selling your products, how to do business development, how to get you customers, how to service them. So you've got to treat your website like it's an employee. You can't relinquish responsibility and go, oh, well, sorry, but you didn't tell me. And I'll go, well, you're going to take some responsibility. I've educated as much as I can, but it is also your investment, So I think sometimes people go, oh, it's all too techy and too hard. And I'd say there's a bit of a cop out. If you want to be in business, you've got to do a little bit of learning so that you can then make good decisions.
I agree with that, because it's an online business. You have a website. Website is like the body of an octopus, I always say. And so you have these tentacles and traffic coming in and people are checking you out, and you should be able to look after the body of that's an asset. It's an asset of your business, and you can then sell it. And make money of it. And so the other thing I was thinking, the reason why I asked you the other question that was a bit challenging is because I always feel like my website is not finished. it's always incomplete. And it may be that, like you said, we need to be always thinking about, because there's all these new things coming up in the technology, right? I'm talking to somebody now, a software company that is in the machine learning space, and they can segment audiences. Even if you don't know them, they specialize in segmenting the traffic that's coming to your website and presenting exactly the images that this customer cookie was recorded and registered to say, hey, I'm interested only in these specific things on the websites, that therefore I only want to see these specific things on the website. So there's all this technology that's coming up. And as a small business, you have to be learning and educating yourself on all of this.
Yeah, it is. And so I think you're right. We're constantly updating. I mean, you want to be adding in content and blogs anyway to make sure that you're continually kind of, from an SEO perspective, kind of climbing up those pages. We work with iFormat, and the things that we've learned over the years of working with them. And your website needs to be constantly looked at, updated, adding new content, maybe removing the content that's not working for you. I saw you at your photo shoot, and you saw we recently did a new photo shoot to update the images of me on my website, because they were like 4 years ago. I've got more wrinkles, my hair's shorter. I want that authenticity. Then when someone meets me in person after being on my site, that they go, oh, that's the person I'm speaking with. So there's always an opportunity to kind of, keep your portfolios up to date, your testimonials up to date. So it is a work in progress, like we are too, as humans, I suppose.
Yeah. I have to say that the investing in professional photo shoot has been one of the best things we've done. It's amazing. Yes. It makes a big difference. And I have seen some of our competitors are actually checking us out more often because we stand out.
Yeah, that's right. And it is, it's an extension of you guys as personality, as your brand. The word brand can be used so loosely, but it is how do I want those people to feel? How do I want them? What messages do I want to be giving them? And that is, it's not like one thing. It's like this whole kind of, overview, and a sense that's almost unconscious, the colors that are used, the language, the layout, how modern or traditional it is, what you're wearing, what colors, how the composition of the photos, where they're taken, it all comes together. It's like going to the movies. When you see the shorts for the movies, and you get a sense of, do I want to go to that movie or not? Does that, and that's a really important thing, what they put out as the shorts for a movie. And that's a similar thing with us, that first impression. You can always change someone's first impression, but it takes a lot longer if you've started off with the wrong one. Over time and all those interactions that you have with people, they can go, oh, actually, they're okay. They're more trustworthy. They're a lot more fun. They're not as expensive as I thought, or they're not as slack and lazy and grubby as I thought, or whatever it is, because you've not made an effort to think about that first impression. When I was young, my father took me to Europe, and so I got to go, I think I was about 17, so it was kind of an impressionable age between teenage and adulthood. And we lived in Florence for a month, and we travelled through Northern Europe for 3 months, and it had a lasting impression on me in the sense that everything was about presentation. In Italy in the evening, it doesn't matter what your father or parents do or family does or how much money you have, everyone would put on their finery and go for a passeggiata up and down, the streets, and go and have a little drink or a gelato, and the way they present their food, and everything is about that sensory experience and the impression, the feeling that you get, and how you look or how things look and how they're presented is really important. And that kind of stayed with me, that, who you are as a person is vital. Like, you want to make people feel good through who you are as a person, but it can start with that first impression.
And having professional photography really does that. We've jumped on a website recently, Johannah and I, and we were supposed to meet with this lady, and we were checking out her site, and we couldn't see any photo of her on the website. And we thought, but who are we meeting? We're about to meet this person, but it's a nice, looking website, nice copy, but we don't know who we are meeting with, and it kind of uncomfortable.
An extra barrier or something, or unsure, uncertain.
Yes, I'm not sure what to call it exactly.
Well, it's one of the second most visited pages on your site is your About page. People want a connection. We look at just what happens with, how social media just blew up and how stories and reels of people and, images, even in the early days of Facebook and Instagram, the stats were when there was a picture of the behind the scenes or the person, there was always way more interaction. People want a connection, and that uncertainty that you kind of, it is a bit of a mystery, and not in a good way. It's not, who am I meeting today?
Yeah.
But it really helps you to start forming a sense of connection with this person, because when you see them, you go, that's it's a memory. I've already got a memory or a sense of you. And it definitely, we can tell the stats on the sites that we look at, we load analytics into the sites and we keep an eye on them. And we can see that the sites that have photography of the people, they have a decent About page, they are the ones with, and there's a nice flow where you have this hierarchy of information that goes from, who we are and who we help and how we help you, a little bit about the owner, it goes through all the business, it goes through to the About page. They want to learn more about the business owner or the business. It then goes from there into the services. And those websites have way longer time spent on them, way lower bounce rates, more leads like, contact form inquiries or phone calls.
What is the number one thing that you would recommend someone do on their website, let's say, to bring more sales in?
So I think this is a hard one to say just one thing. If you, first of all, you need to have analytics connected to your site so you know what's happening. That's the first thing, because without data, you actually don't know what's working and what's not working. And there is also some software which you can get a free version called Hotjar or Crazy Egg. Both of them you can use. I can't remember which one. I think Hotjar has a free version or free to a certain amount. And that allows you to load your site and to see where people are clicking, because you can't really make changes without having some information to work with, because you might change something and completely destroy your conversion. So I would say, first of all, just get some data. That would be a good place to start. The other one would be, see if your website, when you first land, answers the core questions that your customers need to know. So everyone goes to Google with a problem. They've got a question or a problem. They're trying to solve a problem. That's why we go to Google. When they land on your site, whatever page it is that's ranking for whatever problem that you're solving, can they tell that you solve it and you solve it for them? And this doesn't need to be generally a hierarchy of information. So people will often put a huge paragraph of text. And I like to get people to think about, when you're at the supermarket and you're at the checkout and you see those little glossy mags on the side, and you pick one up, like a new idea or whatever it is, and you see the headlines, there's something that catches your eye and you read it. And then you'll read the secondary heading, and then you might flip it open to have a look at the article. So you want to use that kind of strategy in when people land on your site. If you are a bookkeeper for the health industry, tell them, we help businesses in health-related industries with their bookkeeping. doesn't need to be fancy words. Someone, first of all, needs to know that they've landed at the right place, right? So if you can do that and reflect back to the person that's looking at your site that you help them, what they need to see. And that is probably the most important thing, and that they can read the text. People want to be fancy and have flickering, video, and that stuff can happen later. If I don't know how you help me, then it doesn't matter how pretty or fancy the animation is. You've lost them because you've not told them that you help them. So that would probably be my number one thing, is just make sure that a stranger that doesn't know who you are knows that you can help them. Is that your audience? And I think that's really, really important. What is it that you do that's different to somebody else? I help these people in this way, and we are XYZ. We are cheaper. We are more effective. We are local. We are Australian made. We support. We sustainable. We give back. What is it about your audience that is really important for them to make that decision? And every business has something within them that's a story, that is their mission, their why, and it's got to be not too ethereal and we just love helping, women be successful. We all want to be successful, and, half the population is women. What is it that is really important to this woman that wants to be successful? Or if you do teeth whitening, what is it about your teeth whitening that is better than someone else's, or different? Not even necessarily better, just different. How does it connect and resonate with your audience? You cannot sell to everybody. Coke doesn't sell to everybody. It sells to people that love Coke because of the flavor, versus the people that like Pepsi because of the flavor or the essence of the brand, the essence of the business. So you've really got to hone in on that stuff that is what they would call unique selling propositions. And often it can be, if you think about your audience and you go, well, what are their barriers to using someone like me? Say you're a buyer's advocate. What is it about using a buyer's advocate that is a problem for an audience, the target audience? And I want to get more people and help them buy the right property. It can be that it's going to cost a lot of money. It can be that they don't know why they'd use you over a real estate agent. Maybe that you work in the southeastern suburbs. Maybe that you work with properties up to a certain value. Maybe that you work just with the Chinese community. But play on something and then go, well, if I can understand what these barriers are, twist them into a positive. We're a third generation, Chinese family heritage. So we speak, but we also understand what it's like. We also have been brought up in Australia. So we know all of the great areas and we understand what's happening in the market. If you are selling vegetables and you understand that your grandfather worked as a fruit and veggie guy or grew tomatoes, talk about how you know the difference between premium produce and the stuff that we end up getting at Woolies. Talk about why you need to pay a little bit more for it. So really understanding your audience and that you can't sell to everybody, and how can you really capture that essence of the audience is, I think is that one thing?
There's a couple of things, but I really like your advice about the Hotjar, using the Hotjar tool. I completely forgot. I actually have it on my other website and I'm going to check it out after this, because it does tell you exactly where the visitors are spending the most amount of time. And then you can make tweaks and changes to the website. And I also like how you said that, you should know your audience, display clearly what you do, have that messaging right at the top of the website. But I feel like most business owners need that additional skill called copywriting to be able to portray that message to their clients, to say what they do, because some people struggle to say what they do, right?
It is really hard, and to do it succinctly. Can't say the word. And the good thing about Hotjar or Crazy Egg is that you can see where people are clicking. So often people might be clicking on a word that doesn't go anywhere. So that's really good, because it means maybe pop a button. They're wanting to click that, so pop a button there or make it clickable. It's a good tip. Yeah.
That's great advice, and a good segue, because my other question I had for you was this technology question, where we often get asked, what's better, Shopify or WooCommerce? Do I go on WordPress or Drupal or custom-made websites? How would you answer that question?
When it comes to e-commerce, I would say, like, e-commerce. If we're talking about, Shopify versus Woo, I would go, Shopify is probably a bit more like a turnkey solution, where it's like moving into a house where someone's done a bit of the interior design for you. Whereas if you like to choose your paint colors and maybe you like a bit more hands-on, and that you like how things work, then you might go with WooCommerce. The other reason you might go with Woo over Shopify is that you want to so Shopify has some limitations in that it can only have 100 variations. So if you have products that have a variety of variations based on color, size, and one other tier of variation, you can't use Shopify. If you want to do multi-sites, then you can't, where you have like 3 or 4, like you've got a couple of brands, but you want to have all of them as one main kind of inventory or website back end. A multi-site doesn't really work with Shopify. You need to use WordPress for that. So it can depend on the business. WooCommerce has a bit more flexibility in customizing, but Shopify is an awesome platform to use. You don't have to worry about the security. The apps can start to add up in cost, but the back end is really nice and easy. It's got its own analytics in there. You can load Google as well, analytics, and get that level, but it's got its own analytics for your a great dashboard. So it's a really nice turnkey solution. When it comes to other platforms, we only use WordPress for business, but in terms of custom code, if you're wanting to do something sophisticated in the sense of like a database that maybe interacts with another interface, then you probably need to use custom. I wouldn't use Drupal. I couldn't even talk to you about Drupal. There's not many people that still use it, really. That'd be experts. Magento would be another e-commerce that's really big and very costly. So unless you're a super duper, you've got lots of money and does huge inventory, then I would probably stay away from Magento. And Squarespace is a nice, it's a platform that you can just put in. It's not very easy to customize. So if you just want a simple 3 or 4 pages, that would be okay. Their add-on e-commerce, I would not go there at all. Generally it's why, over 60% of all websites in the world are built on WordPress. So we just focus. That's our niche. You have to niche. So we just niched WordPress and with the plugin Woo, and then Shopify as well. And then we're now doing custom builds because it has for a larger, more complex type problem that people want solved with as technology solution. I
was also going to ask you about the Shopify and WooCommerce. Which one is better for SEO? Are they both, like Shopify and WooCommerce? Are they both good? Yeah. Does it matter?
No, they're both really good. So, and I used to say, don't go on Wix because Google doesn't like Wix, and that's actually now it's not as fabulous, but it's definitely way better than it was. And there's actually apparently no data to say that you can SEO for Wix is okay. But I would say WordPress, because more sites are built on it, you've got more customization to it. But Shopify's is fine. You can rank sites on Shopify. The other thing about Shopify, though, is that it's for e-commerce. So you generally do AdWords like Google Shopping. You want it to show up in the shopping feed. So from a product perspective, in terms of optimizing, and I think that's fine. That would probably be what our e-commerce partner says. So I don't think there's a reason not to use it from that perspective. Yeah.
We do often get asked this question as well, like, is it good for SEO? But yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you for sharing. So I think we have asked quite a few questions here about the websites, and I personally always get excited about my business because you can visualize it. You know, when you see a website, you fall in love with your business again. Is this the kind of reaction you get from your clients as well?
Yeah, they do love when they see the design. So the first part, we'd go through our discovery. They get kind of excited that someone's really enthusiastic and wanting to know about them. And then when they see the design, they kind of go, wow, that's how we can look. You know, that's exciting. So they get excited at that point. And then when they go live, they realize that they've got, there's still, if it's a brand new website and there's no optimizing being done, they then obviously need to do a little bit of that. But if we go live and we've optimized the site with our SEO partner, and then like today, we just got an email saying that they had jumped from position 63 for something that they wanted to rank for all the way up in just 2 days to position 30. And that's just in 2 days, which is, really exciting for them because, that's the opportunity, is that this is when you are in a shopping center, you have all of that foot traffic. You're hoping for foot traffic. And it's the same. If you do a really good SEO strategy and you see that there's 2,500 people that are looking for your service, then you go, well, I want a piece of that pie in position 1, 2, or 3. Position 1 is 30% of 2,500. If you go, wow, if I can get up there, imagine how many people will be visiting my site. And then they go, well, now I'm really proud of the site that I can share. And Johannah says that I'm going to convert those people and more people. We've been converting only, 2%, and now we're going to convert up to 8 or 9%. That's like, ching, 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 sales. That is really exciting. And particularly when we've worked with someone and they've had their site optimized and they've got the right number of pages with the right phrases on it. Like we did interior design, and she doesn't really need more than one new client a month. And within 2 weeks, she had this perfect client, absolutely perfect client. There's many people looking for interior design Melbourne, and that's really exciting. She's excited that the money she's invested in upgrading has paid off. We're excited that she's got a great result. It's really nice. It's that feel good. It's like being of service, but it's a business. And I think that's what most people are in business for, is to get that feel good sensation when you've done a good job, they're benefiting from it. It's it's a big love fest.
You're making an impact, really.
Yeah, that's right. It's good. It makes you feel like you're doing a good. It's good. It's rewarding.
Yeah, it's rewarding.
Yeah. Sounds like you're making love. That sounds really amazing. But we also, like, our listeners are all over the world. I know we talked a bit about Australia, but you can help other people around the world. There's no boundaries.
No, so we've had clients in London, Bali, New Zealand, America. So we have had clients, Abu Dhabi. So there's even with time zones, there's always a way around that, and it's digital. And with Zoom, we've never really had an issue with looking after clients around the globe. And because our team of 8, they're all in the Philippines, so they we are very cost effective, but we're very hands on. So the quality of our work is really good. And we're not expensive for that quality and that level of service. So, I mean, it can vary. It can vary, and it can be in America. It's a lot bigger, So it would be odd that maybe someone in America often chooses us, but often there's a connection and there's a trust, there's a trust or a connection factor. So
how do people, if they, enjoyed listening to you today and they really want to work on their website, how should they contact you? Where should they go?
They can go to our website, confettidesign.com.au. We're on Instagram and people can message us via our Instagram, which is Confetti Design Melb at MELB. Or they can just, if they're in Australia, they can just call me. So it says it all over my website. I love a good chat, as you can tell. Pick up the phone.
I will include all that information in the show notes so you guys can just click on the button and check out Johannah and her portfolio and also reach out. Is there anything special that you want to offer? Is there a session you can offer to our listeners?
Yeah, well, we do our 30-minute consultation, which there's a lot of information that I give through that, just in general business, regarding how to maximize their website and their business and their sales, and questions to ask. We often get, even if a client maybe isn't ready to, or prospect isn't ready to sign up with us, we get reviews because they love those conversations that we have. It really helps frame what they're doing with their business, things that people have never asked them before. And we'll always do within that a bit of a review of their site and give them some tips on how to, actions that they can take themselves. But we also, if anyone comes through via from you, Johannah, we'll give them a 10% discount on that quote as well for any jobs that come as a result of being one of your followers. We'd love to extend that.
Very generous offer. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Well, I've enjoyed talking with you today, Johannah. Yeah, it's been amazing. And I've actually got so many gold nuggets. When I go back and listen to this, I'm going to try and pay attention and look at my website as well. And I hope our listeners do the same, because it will make an impact. It will make a difference to your business and your life eventually. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.